Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Jata Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitangscha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himavadivyachcha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Yes, Prabhu, any question?
Yes, Maharaj. The last broadcast we were asked question addressed to both you and Pawan Janardhan Maharaj, but I will ask it now. Question from Kshama Buddhi. Either Maharaj and Goswami Maharaj could explain the difference between the explanation on Brahma Gayatri mantra as given by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaja and compare these two slightly different explanations.
I don't recall Srila Prabhupada explaining that, except perhaps in some generic sense. So I'd have to see where that is. Is there any reference given to his explanation? So I'm unfamiliar with that. With regard to Srila Guru Maharaj, it said achinoti yashastrartam in the definition of an acharya. It's one who's extracting the inner meaning of shastra or the scripture. As there's, we could say, an obvious meaning and other. Like there's one dictionary called Nirukti. And it's interesting, in a sense, and I'm saying this in a summary form, it's defining what was not spoken, or in the sense of what is not easily understood. In other words, if there's a common understanding of everyone of a particular thing, then that's not going to be here. The specialty here will be what is not obvious or commonly understood. So, Guru Maharaj, in Sanskrit it says nigudha artha. That means like confidential meaning. And I had asked Srila Gurudev to remind Srila Guru Maharaj about this, to explain this. And you can hear, Srila Gurudev expertly, gently approaching the subject. And he himself says, what was given in Mahabharata in 100,000 slokas or 100,000 lines, however you take, is given in the Gayatri in one. Right? So then we can understand it's very condensed meaning. And thus the necessity of extracting from there. And Srila Guru Maharaj himself mentioned, he said, just like, something that may be unfamiliar to us, but the seed of a banyan tree. Let's just except that it's something very small, the seed. And then we see the banyan tree. Like those who have been to India or in the Navaditam Parikrama, you know, in Paramatala. What is the special, of many, but one of the special features of Paramatala is this banyan tree that sort of goes on forever. It comes out, it goes down, the whole area is that one banyan tree. Right? So it's something extraordinary. It's there in Navadvip. So then we can understand. He's saying, so this huge manifestation coming from such a small seed. Right? And then Guru Maharaj said, and as they say, Veda Mata, Gayatri, he said, what is at hand? How to extract Krishna conception from the womb of Gayatri. Right. So he mentioned the verse from the Garuda Purana, which is Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Basya Rupo Syo Vedartha Paribringhita. That it's saying this, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Purana, is the commentary on Gayatri. That's very interesting. So in essence saying, what is the explanation of Gayatri? The Srimad Bhagavatam. 18,000 verses, the Mahapurana. So what can be extracted from there? We're saying, Gayatri Basya Rupa Shno. The Bhagavatam appeared in the form of the Basya, the commentary, the explanation of Gayatri. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Krishna conception. So as Guru Maharaj said, Krishna conception from the womb of Gayatri. Right? What did Prabhupada so beautifully, simply, perfectly title his 10th canto summary? Krishna book. I don't know how you can get any more direct than that. It's got a book. What's the name of this book? Krishna. It's not even called the Krishna book. The name of the book is Krishna. And underneath it says Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's the name of the book. Right? It's not even called, we called it the Krishna book, but that's not, the name is just Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? A summary study of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, though, we can say is the book of Krishna. Right? Here, Krishna conception is being revealed fully, comprehensively. We hear in the beginning that Narada visits Vedavyas, and we're told at that time Vedavyas is feeling some apprehension. Saying, the great Vedavyas, Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyas, who's compiled all the Vedic literatures for the benefit of everyone, suffering humanity, if you will. The Mahabharata with the Bhagavad Gita within that, and so many other things. And he's feeling, the word I believe probably is despondency. And Narada appears on the scene and saying, and Prabhu, what is the cause of your despondency? So why is it that Vedavyas is feeling this way, as though he's not done the desired service? And the words of Guru Maharaj Narada is telling him that inadvertently what you've given is being abused by the people in general. I like to put it in these words, and saying like, what is the fault? You know, you gave the world religion, right? What will be the cure? Religion, the new for that. As in the Bhagavatam, amayo yastabhutanam jayate yena suvrata tadeva hyamayam dravyam na punati chikirtsitam. And I mean it in this context, that this verse says, again it's Narada, he said, does not a thing which was the cause of a disease cure that very disease when applied therapeutically? Right. And I remember hearing this verse from Srila Prabhupada at the Krishna Balaram Mandir, and devotees had heard the glories of rubbery, right, this sweet, right? And so everybody on their list of things I gotta do, well, at the top, get some rubbery. And everyone was doing this, either hiddenly or openly, as the case may be. What we didn't know, or came to learn in time, is that a very small amount of rubbery is produced from a giant vat of milk. It's cooked down, and then they put around the edges, and then again condensed, and it goes around the edges, and the skin of the milk, and it thickens, and it keeps going down and down and down, till you have this small amount of rubbery. But who knows what amount of milk it was used to achieve that. And then the next logical point to understand is that, so if you were to drink that much milk, you might have some digestive problems. So even a small amount of rubbery is sufficient. Right? And you might say the devotees were overindulging, and nothing escaped Srila Prabhupada. So he's lecturing on this verse, and he knows, like, he's hearing, where's so-and-so? Oh, he's sick, Srila Prabhupada, and there's enough of this going on. Prabhupada has figured it out. And then he just says, kindly, without humiliating anyone, but saying that, just like if someone overindulges in some sort of milk product, he's saying the cure, and he's telling us during the class what the cure is for what we're all suffering from. He's saying you take some yogurt, what is, like Gurudev was saying, gomorich, black pepper, little maybe lime juice, some other, this mixture, and if you take this, it'll cure you. And this shows like a living interpretation of the Bhagavatam. Narada is telling Vyasa, does not a thing, when applied therapeutically, become the cure for the same thing that caused the disease? Okay. And what he's alluding to, Veda Vyasa is faultless, but this is within the context of their discussion. This is their Leela, their pastime, and the Bhagavad Purana is going to come out of this. So it's a wonderful thing, because sometimes Guru Maharaj would say very strongly to Narada's voice, to Vyasa, like, you're a traitor to the cause. But what it means is, he's saying, inadvertently, what you've given is being abused. And what does that mean? Saying all these Puranas, the Mahabharata, and that's why I use the word religion. Because what does the Bhagavatam say in the beginning? Dharmak projita kaita votra paramo nirmat saranam satam. Dharmak praujita kaitava dharma. Cheating religion, there's no element of that to be found within the pages of the Bhagavatam, as if to imply there might be some of that elsewhere. and other places, to appeal to those in the mode of ignorance. They're being advised in a particular way. To appeal to those in the mode of passion, they're being advised in a particular way. Even generic sattva gun, right? The Bhagavad Purana, none of that will be found in here. That means it's going to be pure Krishna conception, not coded or spun by any particular perceived necessity. Right? And what does he mean? He's saying that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, like we used to hear when we went to India, Dharma, Artha, Kama. So it goes something like this. They would say, like, when you're young, you follow Dharma, right? Like, you're a good boy. You know. Then Dharma, Artha. Then at approximately, these are all approximately, you know, the age of 25, you know, you get a job and you start working. Like I mentioned when the Giriraj Swami and I were in Jamaica, and we were the guest of these Indians, and who are well-to-do, and they owned the factory and had so many workers. They make them say Jai Radhe at the beginning of work every day, you know. And we were given the son's room to stay in, and on the wall was a picture of like Arjun like this, and Krishna preaching to Arjun. And I thought, oh, that's nice, you know, Bhagavad Gita. But this man's intention in putting that painting on the wall was that his son was reluctant to go into the family business. Right? And the man turned to us and, you know, mentioned something about that, as if we could help, you know. But then he turned, there's the picture, Arjun like this, you know, and Krishna instructing him. He said, after all, Lord says to Arjun, get a job. And I'm feeling like, I think I missed that chapter. You know, Krishna saying, get a job to and Arjun's like, you know, like that's your problem. And I'm saying, wow, this is karma kanda, like as I've never envisioned it, right? So using the scriptures, Gita, Mahabharata, you know, Veda Vyas, you know, and that is the point that he's making. He's saying, it was not your intention. You're trying to liberate. Oh, so I'm saying Dharma, Artha. So Artha, then you know, get a job, work, etc., and then calm, get married, enjoy the fruits of your labors and your family life, and then when you've lost all sensuous capacity, more or less, then moksha. Because they don't go, why you're trying for moksha, liberation? Now you're young, you know. So they say, no, that's to come later. In other words, when you're useless for anything else, then moksha. Lord says. I don't know where Lord says that, you know. So that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, that sequence is there. So, and the very fact that it says Dharma projita koitava Dharma, that this will not be found in the Bhagavatam, implies that there are other places where you could get that impression. Let's just put it that way. And that's the impression people were getting. And what does it mean? Really, that and as it's still today, everywhere amongst religious people, they're following some religious tradition, for the most part, for a successful material life. It's still that way. Right? Not to, as Prabhupada would say, successfully terminate human existence. No, they're dead set on staying here as long as possible and having a comfortable, luxurious life as far as possible, in the name of following religious principles. So I'll be good and I'll do what the scriptures say so that I'll have a successful, prosperous material life. And then what? Who will want to seriously entertain the thought of liberation? Unless it's at that final stage, you know. And not only that, but the impression that most people have, and this Chakrabarti Thakur mentions, Prabhupada references his commentary and his commentary on the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, and the first words of the Bhagavatam, that makes it even more significant. Janmadyasya yataha. What was mentioned in Vedanta, in Sutric form here. Janmadyasya yataha. No, and it's like yato va imani bhutani jayante. You know, like, how shall we conceive of divinity or the absolute? That from which everything is coming, by which it is maintained, and what it will ultimately enter into. But here, janma, in the ordinary sense, means birth, adi, etc., birth, maintenance, death, all of this. Everything's coming from there. But what Chakrabarti Thakur says very nicely, he says, Adi here really is a reference to Adi Rasa, right? The original rasa. That means Madhura Rasa. Right? And he's saying everything comes from that. Right? We think normally in terms of, like, we say Shanta, the sequence, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhura, Svakya, Parakya. Right? We think it of some kind of a development, and it is from a particular type of analysis. But what he's telling us is it's really Adi Rasa Madhura Rasa is the original, and in the words of Srila Guru Maharaj, all the other rasas are clients or satellites of that, and necessary. So we spoke recently. There can't just be like, again, one devotee and I, we made some life members in Calcutta who owned a sweet shop. Right? The Satyanarayan Misti Bandar, South Calcutta. Right? So they lived in a place called Tribeni, which is near Panihati. Three rivers. I mean. So they wanted us to go do programs there. And they asked my partner, like, what should they arrange for the prasadam? You know, we're like, 22-year-old brahmacharis. And he says, just sweets, that's all we need. They own a sweet shop. They make very nice misti doi, rasgolas, sundae, all these things. And he tells, so we're going to go there for 2 or 3 days. And he says, all you need to give us are sweets. They did not listen to him. They just said, yeah, like that was a given. We own a sweet shop, like a really good one. That'll be, but there will be other things. Why? Shukta, Shakadi, Baji, Nalita, there will be some bitter and something pungent and something sour and something salty, and that will enhance the sweetness. Because we might think, well, if what we hear from analysis about Madhura Rasa, then why would anyone be interested in anything other than that? Right? But Jarje Rase Hoise Sarvotam, whatever one is experiencing, I think there's nothing better than this. They're totally satisfied by that. It's from an analytical perspective that Ramananda, Rupa Goswami are saying, Madhura Rasa is the sweetest one. And inclusive, whatever sentiments you find in the others, they say what you find in Shanta, Dasya has its own element and Shanta within it. Sakya has Dasya, Shanta Dasya within it. Vatsalya has the elements of Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, etc. We're told this has everything within it. And if we accept that it is the Adi Rasa, that means the original Mukhya Rasa, it is the one from which everything else is springing. So how beautiful, just think of it in this way. The opening phrase of the Bhagavatam is saying, Madhura Rasa is the source of everything. That is astonishing. After hearing from Narada saying, and why? Why is this important? He's saying because, again, inadvertently, but the way people are interpreting the scriptures, Vedic knowledge, Purana, everything, is that they erroneously come to the conclusion that the only place where the erotic principle can be expressed, eros, is in this world. And it's just something you have to give up if you want to get liberated and enter, Vishate Tadanantaram, enter into the unlimited, which I think is something abstract, impersonal, lacking sensuous capacity. Right? As I say often to Chinese friends, because when I was flying from Beijing to New York on Air China, and the gentleman sitting next to me was a professor of advanced computer science at one of the top universities in America. It took me a long time to extract that information from him because he's very humble. When I said, what do you do? He goes, I'm a teacher. And then I went, computer science, advanced computer science. Where? At a university. Which one? One of the major ones. It just went on and, until I realized, whoa, this is the man. Can I ask you a few questions? He said, sure. And I said, considering your position, advanced computer, you teach the most advanced students. I said, and I think like these jasmine flowers, all the beautiful flowers we have here, the Goloka Champak, the Lilabadi flower, and all. And I said, thinking of the beauty of the aroma, their form, the spiral, the whirl, the delicate touch, the mood elevating fragrance, many things are there. And I said, can you say or deny with absolute certainty that the original source of these beautiful, sweet, aromatic flowers has no olfactory capacity? Right? Meaning, as we can smell them and enjoy them and enhance our mood. So can you say with absolute certainty that the original source has no such capacity? And of course, we're on an airline, there's no one watching us, or, and he was humble and honest, and he said, the way you have phrased this question, you said, with absolute certainty? No. I may not believe it, But I can't deny with absolute certainty that possibility. Then I said, then I don't have to ask you any more questions, because I can reframe that question for each one of the senses, for hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, feeling, everything. So in other words, you have opened the door for the possibility that the original source of everything has senses and is therefore a person, or as Prabhupada would say, Supreme Personality of Godhead, back to his book, Krishna. So that Rishikesh, right, Govinda, right, it means he has sensuousness, is sensuous. Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham. To what degree? So not only do people think there's no possibility for eros to be expressed in that domain, but what are we told from the scriptures? Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham. That Krishna, what to speak of the possibility or the prospect, but that Cupid, right? We have the one Cupid here. What is being said here? Kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham. What is the beauty of Krishna? Comparable to 10 million Cupids personified as one. Right? If we say sun ray and sun, what's the difference? Magnitude. What's the difference in Krishna? The magnitude of his beauty, the magnitude of his sensuous capacity. Sometimes Gurudev simply think, what is the difference between Vaikuntha, Goloka? Vaikuntha, one Lakshmi, one Narayan. Goloka, Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahma Sevimanam. Hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of Lakshmis, gopis, for one Krishna. That's simple mathematics. Right? So what Narada is alluding to is the way people understood Vyasa's gifts up to this point was that in this world there's calm, lust, or the erotic principle. Then when you no longer have sensuous capacity and can operate on a level, then you try for moksha, and it's just that liberated world has nothing to do with any of these things. But what about when the Upanishads say, Yato va imani bhutani jayante, that everything's coming from there? Then how could this not have its representation there? Janmadyasya yataha. Chakravarti Thakur was saying, this is the meaning of the beginning. Everything is springing from Madhura Rasa. Everything is emanating from there. And that makes total sense, actually. It's also would be a common sense thing. If this world, in the Gita, about the Urdhva Mulam, anyway, the banyan tree, that it's a perverted reflection of the original. Sakam, I forget. So, and say, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan Tattva. Sanatana Goswami Prabhu is the Acharya Sambandha Gyan, Bhakti Siddhanta, his deity, what? Madan Mohan, Madan Gopal, if you will. Madan Mohan, right? Just happens to be that deity? Or is there something systematic to be understood? That Vidite Hridaya Granti Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. To break the stranglehold that lust has upon the heart, Hridrogam. Right? requires lust, here represented as Cupid, then what is how attractive is Krishna? 10 million Cupids. The all-attractive personality of Godhead, hearing about Him, right? Hearing His pastimes, relishing hearing about Him, can break the stranglehold that lust has upon the heart. So necessarily so that the Sambandha Tattva deity must be Madan Mohan to allude to this prospect, this possibility, right? Otherwise, it's not just, how do you say, incidental or peripheral. It must be central and important. So, again, Guru was saying, Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatartha Binirnaya Gayatri Basya Ruposho Vedartha Paribringhita. The Bhagavatam cannot just be one of the Puranas or a very good one or even just the best one. This is the what do you call it? The masterwork, magnum opus, that's the word, I think, of Veda Vyas, the culmination. Okay. When we hear Veda Kalpataru compared to the desire tree, why? Because from the desire tree, you get whatever you want. That means necessarily so that Veda deals with many things. Right? Mundane things. Maybe someone wants something mundane. They have to also have that. Jyotir Ved, Danur Ved,